Young athletes with big stories. These sports stories are here to motivate, equip, and enlighten the next generation. You're listening to an Echo Sports production. Here's your host.
Hey everybody, it's your host Edwin Glosson, and I want to welcome you to this week's Echo Sports Girls High School Hoops podcast, and we have a treat for you today. We have a head coach that's won over 700 games in her coaching career. That's with an 83% winning percentage. She's won 2 state championships, and I have a great deal of respect for her. Heard her speak at the TABC clinic years ago, and I just want to welcome Coach Jill McDill, the head coach at Sunnyvale High School, to this show. Thanks for joining us.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
So, Coach, I know when you sent me some stuff about your background, and I didn't know that you could hoop like that. First team all area of the DFW. Dallas Morning News. Excuse me, not DFW. Dallas Morning News. That's big time because the DFW that's some heat. So back in those 91 and 92, I'm just curious though, what was your superpower when you were a player?
Gosh, I'm not sure I had a superpower, and you got to remember that's a long time ago. It's been a while. But, I was competitive. I for sure was competitive and wanted to win and wanted to find a way to win. I had a great high school coach, Donna Capps, who coached in North Mesquite, then went to Crandall for a little bit and then went to UTA. So she helped a lot. I grew up with my dad as a coach at home. And so all of those things, but really just wanted to compete and be the best I could be.
So you went on to Baylor. You played for 1 season at Baylor. But one thing that I was really impressed when I was just kind of looking at everything that you sent me and just through the conversations that we've had in the past, you were top 10% in your class. You were district MVP. You went on to play at Baylor. You graduated summa cum laude at Baylor. And then obviously your resume as a coach with your winning percentage and being having a positive impact at all the places you've been at it just stood out that there was a common theme of this commitment to excellence. And then just really giving your best and just performing and executing at a high level. And I'm just curious, where did you get that? From the very beginning, it just jumped off the page. Where did you get that drive to do that and to be that kind of person?
Honestly, a lot of that comes from my faith. And I just believe that whatever I want to do it to the glory of God and do it my very, very best and give it my best and be marked by excellence. That's one of the things we talk about a lot. And so I want to be the best that I can be for myself, for my family, for my team. I really want to try to do my best in everything.
It's kind of interesting that you talked about you wanting to give your best for the glory of God. I had a pastor friend of mine at a Wednesday night service that said something that, and I actually have it on my wall. It's worship is giving God your very best. And that's something that really stood out to me. And obviously with you mentioning that, that's something that you've taken to heart at a very young age. And it sounds like you're really, speaking into your athletes that way. So I just think that's awesome. So your first job was at Rockwall. Not you went on to be a head coach at Rockwall. You guys started off that first year going 16 and 15. And then in the next season, you guys won 28 games. What were some of those pillars to your program when you go take over a program and you have that sharp turnaround? Like, how did you implement your culture, and what were some of the things that you were really emphasizing to your teams back then?
So that first year, I remember the year before I got to Rockwall, they were 9 and 19, and really just had this culture of we can't beat certain teams, we can't compete with certain teams. We would walk in some gyms and you could just tell we were scared. And I remember at the beginning just saying, listen, we're going to win. And we're going to saying over and over, we will win. And we're going to walk in any gym and expect to compete and win and be able to beat these teams. And then we came up with what we called there the Lady Jacket way. Now it's the Lady Raider way where I'm at Sunnyvale. But it's the things I talk about all the time. Those are attitude, hard work, heart, team first, and excellence. And so those were the things I was saying all the time. I remember seeing on the cover of a Sports Illustrated, they had Duke men's basketball team on there once, and you couldn't see anybody's faces. You could only see, from their like mid chest down, and it was and it said the Duke way. And they were saying, we don't care about the individuals. We don't care about the awards just for one person or whatever. We care about this whole team. And Coach K had the 5 things that he had, and they're different than all of ours. But we just started saying, that's a great thought. What are our 5 things that we talk about the most? And those were things we had talked about all the time.
That sounds fantastic. It just sounds like you really, that's really cool that you're able to build that type of a culture so quickly. Going 28 wins the first season or the second season, then 22 wins, and then 28 wins, and then in year 4, you guys make it to the state semifinals, going 37-4, and then the next year going 40-0. Just talk a little bit about what that ride was like, winning a state championship and going undefeated like that.
Man, that was such a special year, 2007. But we've all talked about this before. I don't think we would have had a 2007 without a 2006. So 2006, we make it to the state championship game, 37-4, I think you said. Mm-hmm. And so we lost in that state final to Plano West. And really good team. They had, the Nash sisters were going to UT, and they had a girl going to TCU. And anyway, we lost that game, and we're so upset. Had the bulk of our team coming back. And so that's the beginning of the story, is almost everybody's coming back and saying, we're going to go back and we're going to win that thing. And so we set out to be the best we could be in every game, which you do in every season. And then most of the time it just doesn't end up that you're 40-0, right? I mean, that doesn't usually happen. But I remember at Christmas thinking, we're going to have to win them all. Like, if we're going to win this thing, we're going to have to win them all. And the only pressure I really felt that year was probably just, we're winning or this year's a disappointment because of the year before and because we had so many seniors. But, man, we have some great stories from that year, and it was just a fairy tale kind of season.
So, one thing that I think I read recently is that good leaders deflect pressure and anxiety. Bad leaders, they cascade that onto whoever they're leading. And I know, how you talked about, hey, we're going to have to win it all. But at, some point, maybe some of the players may have felt some sort of pressure of, man, we're undefeated, continuing to keep that standard or continue to go undefeated. How did you go about, you and your staff, deflecting that pressure or trying to keep them from thinking about going undefeated and just staying focused on the task at hand, which was winning another state championship?
Right. We would just try to, in every game, we have certain game goals. You want to meet these goals for the game, no matter what level the other team may be. If you're going in expecting to win by 20 or going in and it's going to be a tough game. What's hilarious is after the year, we had some kids in the locker room that were filming certain events. And so a couple of things that were really funny. So I'm thinking before the regional tournament, man, our kids are in the locker room and they're serious and they're preparing and they're locked in. And I go back and look at the video. This is a regional tournament, I believe. And they are playing duck, duck, goose. They're keeping it light. They're expecting to win. They're having some fun. But maybe my favorite story from that year that we went back and watched is before the state championship game, there was a girl on the team named Samantha Shaw, and she had played for us for 4 years. Her freshman year, her sister had actually died in a car accident, and so the team really rallied around her. We loved Sam, and it kind of became a home, a family away from home for her. And so after that game, I watched the video, and they're videoing her. She's straightening her hair, which, girls straighten their hair before the state championship. Anyway, she wants to look nice, and she's crying. She's crying as she's straightening her hair, and the girl recording said, "Sam, why are you crying? We're about to go play in the state championship." And she said, "Because no matter what happens today, this is our last day to have this team. This is our last moment together. And I'm just sad that it's coming to an end no matter what happens." So that speaks to, the bond of that team and just how much they loved each other, how much they wanted to stick together. But I loved going back and seeing that video clip.
Now, you guys had some studs on that team. One athlete in particular, I remember Haley Day, that went on to play at SMU. Do you still keep in touch with some of those athletes? Do they? When it goes to being 40-0 and having a season like that, do they have reunions, or do you guys ever get together individually or in small groups?
Oh yeah. So with Haley, I keep up with Haley. We, keep up with each other some through social media and things. But Haley was awesome. She was always one that she wanted to have fun. She would joke around with me. A lot of the girls, don't do that, but she would kid around with me and mess with me sometimes. And I loved her. Another girl on that team, Shelby Adamson. In fact, this year, her and her sister Peyton came to watch one of our games. They usually come to a game or two every year. But I keep up with a lot of those kids, love them. It's true. I heard that Urban Meyer said one time that when you win a championship, your blood just becomes the same, and you're bonded as kind of like a family. You're bonded together in a different kind of way when you win a championship. And that has been true, for me, that there's just a special bond there.
So 12 years at Rockwall, and then we're going to just speed up ahead and go to 2013 when you take over at Sunnyvale. You guys have great success. Going 34-1 year one. I'm just curious though, it seems like obviously you had probably talent there. What was more challenging, taking over at Rockwall, where you have to change the culture, or you're coming into a situation where maybe you have some talent already?
Sure. Oh, for sure, Rockwall. Rockwall, when I came in, like I said, 9-19, had never really been real successful in girls basketball. And so just changing that mindset along the way, I think that was tougher. When I came into Sunnyvale, I moved to Sunnyvale because I lived here all of my years of coaching in Rockwall. And my oldest son was going to be a freshman in high school. So this way we would all be in the same place. I have 4 kids, 3 boys and then a little girl. And so Caleb, my oldest son, was entering high school. This job came open. And so I knew there were some good kids, really good players in those grades. And so we came in right away thinking we want to win a state championship.
And did you change? Was there anything that you changed in regards to your approach coming in from Rockwall to Sunnyvale in regards to building a culture or establishing your culture the Sunnyvale way at all?
Not really. There's a little bit of difference with the big school, small school kind of thing. You have more kids that do more things. So that was a shift in mindset and some expectations. Because at Rockwall, if you played basketball, that's pretty much what you did. And so I think there were some differences there. But these kids, they expected to win and do well. And of our team that won the state championship in 2015, 4 of those girls went, on to play in college.
So now 25 years, you've been coaching 24 years, 25th year now. How have you changed as a head coach? How has your coaching style evolved from when you first started?
Right. Well, that's a very interesting question and something that we kid around about now. So my JV coach was actually the point guard of our 2015 team. And for Christmas, she gave me a coffee mug that says Coach JJ. And here's what that means. So I have 2 grandsons now, and they call me JJ. And so sometimes when I'm nice, or I'll be like, oh, we're not going to run that last horse or whatever, she's like, that is Coach JJ. And I did not have Coach JJ. I had Coach McDill. Y'all have Coach JJ, and y'all do not know how much easier this is. But I do think, as my husband and I have kind of talked through this, 20 years ago, the only tool I had in my tool bag was to throw a fit, stomp my foot, and yell and scream. And I think through the years, I've just developed some other things to get my point across without this vein in my forehead popping out and just stomping around. You just learn some different and probably better ways to get your point across. Maybe some of that's age, as you're getting older and you see what works and doesn't work, and with certain kind of kids, and kids have probably changed some too. So you just kind of adapt and look at what the best way to do things.
So talking about this year's team, you guys are ranked currently 7th in the state, looking really good in first place and in your district. I'm just curious when it comes to this year's roster. We've got Allie Makeda, who your all-time leading scorer there at Sunnyvale, just recently eclipsed the 2,000-point mark. Really shoots the ball really well for you. I think she made 133s last year. I think she's over 103s this season. Just talk a little bit about what she means to your team and what she's meant to your program over the past 4 years.
Well, I tell everybody this, that Allie is an awesome basketball player, but the people that know her know she is an even better person, and she has so much character and leads our team really well. If we had a team, I mean, it's just Allie Makeda is what you really want as a coach and a girls basketball player. I can challenge her and get onto her, and she will do whatever sake. One game I got onto her pretty good, and she just looked at me and said, "I'm sorry." But she is just so competitive that she wants to do her best and give her best. She, like you said, is our all-time leading scorer, and she loves her teammates. She wants our team to do well. She doesn't just care about all these records and things that she has. And what I love is that, after the game, we announced that she had scored 2,000 and that she was the leading scorer. So the girls all go in the locker room, grab the water bottles, and she just gets flooded with water everywhere. But they were genuinely happy for her too, because she's just such a good leader and cares about them too. So Allie has been, for us, someone that's just been a great backbone for our team.
So one in like contrast and styles of play and kind of what they bring to the table, Destiny Arinze, who's a junior but was also on that state tournament run team or state semifinalist team that you last had at Sunnyvale, an inside presence for you guys. Talk about just how, I mean, you all obviously aren't the tallest team. You have some size there, but she's 5'10". Allie's also 5'10". Just talk a little bit about her versatility in regards to just being able to be an inside presence, but how she can defend multiple positions for you.
Yeah, so Destiny really can defend anybody 1 through 5, positions. She helps our team so much with that. She's just so athletic and so explosive from the floor. She plays a lot bigger than she is. And I will say with Destiny, her freshman year in the state semifinals, we asked her to guard a Division I post kid, from Bernie. And she just really took that challenge on. We said, we want her to have 12 points or less. And she did. So then, when we played La Vega in the finals, Destiny, she really just showed, even as a freshman, that she's going to compete, and she really plays with heart. She has 2 older brothers that play college football, and they're just super athletic family. She's also a great kid.
Now your backcourt, you've got Nalea Gordon and Zoe Glaspie. Zoe, a freshman, and Nalea, who is a senior? She's a senior, so a 4-year starter for you. I feel like just in the little bit that I've seen of you guys play, that she really gets you guys going in transition. Right. Just talk a little bit about just what they bring to the table and how they add to what you have for your team.
Sure. So Nalea, she brings tenacity and just competitive spirit, honestly, as much as any player I think I've ever had. She really competes. She will run you over to get the ball. She is a great teammate. She has been a great captain and leader for this team and fought for the culture. She's worked really hard to be a great basketball player. But you're right. She gets us in our offenses. She talks on defense. And she really brings us together as a team too. But it's hilarious to us that even on, practice days, she is going to win. She is going to compete in every drill, every second of the day. It does not matter to her. She is going to fight to compete. Now, Zoe, like you said, she's a freshman who has started for us. And man, she has such a great demeanor. She is just steady, calm. When I coach her, just like Nalea, they're a lot alike with how they take coaching. They will look me right in the eye, yes ma'am, super intense. She worked really hard last summer to really improve a lot of her skills, and she's been a key part to our team's success this year. Shooting the threes, she's probably shooting about 40% from the 3-point line right now, and she's had a very impressive freshman year.
So talking about freshmen, I know some, with coaches playing a freshman is one thing. Obviously, having the talent to be able to play at the varsity levels of freshmen is one thing, but also preparing them as a coach and preparing them to be successful, because there are going to be struggles when you're playing against older kids and you're schemed in a different way than maybe you've seen at the club level or especially the middle school level, because those coaches just don't have enough time to put those things in for their athletes. Just talk a little bit about what you as a coach, what do you need to see other than, hey, the kid can play, the kid can take the physical pounding that goes with being a varsity basketball player. What do you need to see in order to trust an athlete to give them those kind of minutes and to carve out a major role for you?
Right. Like you said, I mean, it's hard to be a freshman and play competitive high-level basketball because of the difference of eighth grade middle school basketball. You're playing a middle school and then playing good varsity teams. That's tough. And so to do that, I think that the athlete has to be willing to learn and to listen and to be coachable, because the speed of the game is different. You're going to have to adjust to the speed of the game for sure. And you can't get by with some things you could in middle school just because you were the best athlete or you were the best one out there skill-wise. You can't get by with those things when you're playing varsity basketball. So I really think you have to have a hunger to learn and to get better and to watch film. And what we say is, you're going to make mistakes. I just want them to be new mistakes next week. So fix the things that we're coaching you on this week and then make some new mistakes next week. And then you'll be better, and then we'll fix those. And then you'll get better, and you have to be able to just keep moving on and getting better and better throughout the season. And Zoe has done that really, really well.
One thing I love that you just said there is you just talked about mistakes, but you said make new mistakes next week, and you're not, I want to say encouraging someone to make mistakes, but the last thing you want a player is to play timid or play scared, because when you play not to make a mistake, you're probably going to make a mistake.
Right.
And so I just think it's really neat that you empower your players to, hey, I know you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be growing pains, but let's learn from the ones, and let's continue to explore and to be aggressive, but let's learn from what we've already, the mistakes we've already made from the experiences we've already had. I think that's really awesome. So you guys have 1 week, we're at just the end of the regular season here coming up, and next week we finish that up. I'm just curious, with you all securing a playoff spot, how do you feel about the new format, this big school, small school format for basketball now?
It's interesting. I'm sure some coaches love it. The ones that love it probably love their road and their path. And some probably don't. And so, but it's probably because of their road and path. So, what I wish we would do, and we probably will after next year, from what I hear, is go ahead and divide them up before the season and have all the big schools together, all the small schools together. Because then when you win district in your first place, you will play a fourth place team. And in the second round, you'll play a second or third place team, and you don't see a district champion again until the third round. That is not the way it's set up now. When only 2 from each district make it, you could potentially play a district champion, in the second round. And so some of these, different brackets that I've heard of in 3A and in 4A small school for our division, for our region, are extremely, extremely tough roads for people. And you're going to have some really, really good basketball teams done in the second round, where 2 top 10 teams are playing in the second round.
So just to clarify, so right now it's 4 teams go, and you pick, it's two big and 2 small schools go. Correct.
Right. So of those 4, 2, you're going to get your 4. Then you'll designate who are the 2 big and who are the 2 small, and how are they ranked, just 1 or 2.
Got you. And then, but next year you're talking about there could potentially be a situation where they're divided up, and then district alignment would be different in regards to, or
Right.
would it be just a playoff bracket would then, if you could clear
Right.
that.
No. So the way, for example, football does it now, football in 1A through 5A, is they're already divided into districts based on big school and small school. They're already in Division I and Division II pre anything. And so we are not. And so so because of that, there are some really big schools, over 1,000, let's say, like Panther Creek. That Frisco Panther Creek's a really big school, and they will be small school in the way it's done now, because 2 schools in their district happen to be bigger than them.
I see. That totally makes sense.
Right.
Now, how do you feel about not having a regional tournament?
Now I don't know who all this is going out to in the world, but I don't like not having regional tournaments. I don't like not having true state tournaments, and mainly because I think it just takes away some of the special things for kids. I mean, when I was at Rockwall, our goal was to go to Baylor. That's where the regional tournament was. So we even had postcards made up with a picture of the Farrell Center for the girls to carry around all the time. And on one side it had the Farrell Center, and on the other side it had the Superdome in Austin. And those were the 2 main places you wanted to play. And me growing up, I always wanted to get to play on that court at UT. And so I think we're taking some of that away. Some of this special, we get to go play wherever, a college campus or a nice gym for these regional tournaments, for the state tournament, for the Final Four to be there. I still think that's just me. I grew up going to the traditional boys state tournament with my dad. So I think there is something just special about that.
I agree. I'm nostalgic as well, Coach. I have the tradition where I take I've taken my daughter since 3rd grade to the girls' state tournament, and getting a chance to see those semifinal matchups, and then, oh man, I can't wait to see so and so versus so and so.
Right.
Man, that happened. That upset happened. I was hoping to see these 2 teams. And just going through the book and just having more teams to kind of look at for kids, wow, they have a 6'3" girl. They have girls that tall, Dad, and then now I take my son who's in the 5th grade, and we went to the state tournament last year. Now it's just a state tournament. And then I agree with you. I love the regional tournament. I love the doubleheader venue. And, although I do see where, hey, there may be more rest because of not having a regional tournament. But I agree. I loved the regional tournament atmosphere as well as the state tournament atmosphere. I look forward to paying attention to what Sunnyvale does throughout the playoffs. I know you're going to have them prepared, ready to fight, ready to compete, and just look forward to seeing what you guys do this season.
Well, thank you. I love this team, and I can't wait to see, the story that this team has. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Good stuff, Coach. Good luck on Friday night.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. Visit us online at echosports.org for more information.